the way, this was so wild. Stephen A. Smith, the sports commentator, suggested that this was revenge from the president.
Man. So it's looking like Stephen A. Smith found himself in a little bit of hot water, man, because the FBI had to respond to Stephen A. Smith for what he has said about Donald Trump and the FBI live on ESPN First Take. Let's check out that clip right here.
We know what world that I live in terms of politics. How many times, for one incident after another, have I said, Trump is coming? He's coming. I'm going to say it on national television again. Bad Bunny is performing at the Super Bowl, and all of a sudden you hearing ICE is going to be there, looking to engage in mass deportations. The Super Bowl, disrupting things. Big night for the NBA. Wembanyama put on a show. That has now been smeared because we're talking about this story, okay? Remember, Trump has a long history connected to the world of sports because he had those casinos. Where do you think folks were coming half the time? I'm not talking about individuals. I'm talking about the culture. When people want to go to a casino, when people want to gamble, when people want to party, or whatever the case may be. This was his kind of connection to that. Why am I glad you're here, Monica? Because don't be surprised if the WNBA is next on his list.
So everybody was talking about that, and they was like, yo, what is Stephen A. Smith talking about? Like, why is he even bringing this up? It's looking like he's just trying to blame Trump for something because he's trying to get cool with his black audience, because we know he just messed up things with his black audience by calling out Jasmine Crockett, which he just now recently apologized for, right?
This has a lot to do with a whole brouhaha that's been going on with me over the last few weeks. Now, I will tell you, I apologize for not speaking about this earlier. I wanted to take a moment because I saw something disturbing in regards to President Donald Trump and how he came at Representative Jasmine Crockett. And I wanted to take this opportunity to attack this issue as it pertained to me and Jasmine Crockett, because I personally have had an issue with how things have been misconstrued and misinterpreted. But at the end of the day, I have to own it. And that's what I'm going to do today. And so when somebody says to me, Stephen, rather than point to her and her verbiage and her language and how she talked about the president, what about how he talks? I have no problem with that. I can understand that. And if that is the reason that everybody is in an uproar, that is fine. And I have no problem apologizing to my sister because, damn it, I want her to know I don't feel that way about her.
So his stance on that topic, it just turned a lot of people off because people just didn't understand what this had to do with Donald Trump when the FBI said the investigation started 4 years ago, way before Donald Trump was even in office. So let's check out what the FBI said in response. And I also have Stephen A. Smith response back to the FBI, so don't click off the video when I show you guys this clip. And if you can, guys, be sure to hit that thumbs up button. That really does help support my YouTube channel, and I really do appreciate that.
Wild. Stephen A. Smith, the sports commentator, suggested that this was revenge from the president for all the kind of left-wing activism of the NBA. Your response to that, 15 seconds.
I'm the FBI director. I decide which arrests to conduct and which not to conduct. That may be the single dumbest thing I've ever heard out of anyone in modern history, and I live most of my time in Washington, D.C. It's right up there with Adam Schiff. We arrest people for crimes.
So that's the FBI calling out Stephen A. Smith, pretty much embarrassing him for what he has said about them and Donald Trump. It has nothing to do with that. And like he said, I investigate crimes. Simple as that, right? So let's listen to what Stephen A. Smith said in response to the backlash and the FBI calling him out. Let's check out this clip right here.
I had the FBI director for the United States, Kash Patel, call me and said that what I said in regards to Donald Trump was the dumbest thing he's ever heard, and he lives there in Washington, and it was the dumbest thing he's heard, et cetera, et cetera. That's what he said about me. And I would say he's the director of the FBI. Let's just say I'm not trying to get on his bad side. I think it's safe to say that. It's safe to say I'm not trying to get on his bad side, okay? But having said that, I still stand by what I said. And I'm not changing my mind. Because what I tweeted last night on X, and I wanted to make sure that everybody saw, So I'm clear about where I stand and what I'm trying to say. In response to FBI Director Kash Patel's insults on the Laura Ingraham show on Fox News, what I said was, I tweeted this on X, quote, "Nothing to get ahead of here, people. I never denied or failed to mention that this FBI investigation has been going on for years. I said Trump wasn't inclined to stop it. He's sparing no one because the man isn't playing. He's coming. In no way am I attempting to even have an opinion on the legitimacy of this matter. I don't know the facts of the case. I'm just saying don't expect POTUS to spare anyone on this matter, and I stand by that. That's all. Why are we acting like I'm far-fetched? Why are we acting like I'm making this up? I'm going to repeat what I continue to say to y'all. And by the way, just so you know, in the interest of just being real and making sure that you understand who I am, as a journalist and a commentator spanning 30 years, I just want you all to know that it's customary for people to sit up there and say that I don't know what the hell I'm talking about, that I'm off my damn rocker, only to come down the pike weeks, months later and say, yeah, it was true, or the facts bear those things out. This investigation has been going on when Biden was in office. They talked about how this stuff has been going on since 2019, which is when Trump was in office. I'm not implying that Kash Patel doesn't have any legitimacy to the case that he's pursuing against these individuals. They are clearly looking for more bodies, and you can speculate as to who those bodies are going to be, and how feverishly he's going to go after those people. The man ain't playing. We understand that. We get that part, okay? And I'm not about to sit up here and argue with an FBI director, all right? I was born at night, not last night. I'm simply making the point that in the end, you have a president in place that has a lengthy connection to the sports world, rife with friends and enemies. And those who are his enemies, he doesn't mind inconveniencing one bit. And when it comes to the NBA brand, it doesn't bother him. If it comes to compromising the NFL brand, it doesn't bother him. And it's not going to stop. That's all I'm trying to say. I don't understand how anybody can argue with me about this. When you heard that ICE is going to be at the Super Bowl where Bad Bunny is performing, if it was somebody that Trump liked, do you think that would be happening? We've seen the pardons. We've seen the executive orders. What do you think is going to happen? All I'm saying is that if he's salty with you, if he has a reason to dislike you, I'm not saying that delegitimizes the case. I'm just simply saying that he's not going to hesitate to come at you with a level of fervor that you should be aware of.
So that's Stephen A. Smith responding to the FBI. And yeah, man, I honestly feel like he did this for attention. I feel like he knew what he said was going to bring eyes and ears and have everybody talk about it because his stance was just completely left field. It wasn't on topic with everything that was going on. He could have called out Adam Silver. He could have talked about the NBA games. And, he claims he goes to a lot of those games, right? He always says that, like, oh, I make 100 or something games. I'm there front row watching and stuff like that. So if a player wants to approach me, I'm approachable and I'm always there. So it's like, man, you could have said a lot on this topic. Could have called out Terry Rozier, especially when we saw blatantly that he was throwing games. This is Terry Rozier just obviously just turning the ball over and just doing dumb stuff intentionally. Like, you can see it, right? Like, if it wasn't for the sport, we wouldn't even know who Stephen A. Smith is, right? So you would think he would go off about these players and coaches and whoever's involved with this gambling thing, messing up their life. Like, this is the guy who's supposed to use his platform to send a message. I'm not saying he has to slander those guys, but I'm just saying he definitely could have called out the NBA, especially when they had investigated Terry Rozier and the NBA found nothing wrong, right? I like what Brian Windhorst said about the topic. He had called out the NBA.
Absolutely right, Rich. The NBA at some point is going to have to explain why Terry Rozier was allowed to keep playing. And I just want to point something out. The sports books caught the irregular betting on Terry Rozier the day it happened, the morning it happened, when all of a sudden there was hundreds of thousands of dollars coming in on Terry Rozier unders for a relatively meaningless game in March, involving the Charlotte Hornets. The sports books caught it. They told the NBA right away, and guess what? The NBA, Rozier didn't play the rest of the season, and he had faked the injury, so it wasn't because of the injury. The NBA pulled him. They pulled Jonte Porter too. They flagged Jonte Porter and pulled Jonte Porter. The NBA's measures, their protection measures, the sportsbook's protection measures, triggered this. They caught it. The issue, I think, is Jonte Porter. They caught.
So yeah, man, that's my opinion on that. I would like for you guys to get in the comment section down below. I would love to hear your thoughts about today's video. Don't forget to hit that like button. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button as well. Catch you guys on the next one, and we out, guys. Peace.